Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and if you have been following along with me for the TPT Bootcamp series, then we are on step 3. And if you want to join in on the TPT Bootcamp, it's not too late. You can always go back to part 1, and I'll make sure to leave that in the card so that way you can start at the beginning. But if you have already done steps 1 and 2, which is the first step being to research and validate the topics that you want to create your resources on, and then step 2 on how to actually, create the resources itself, then you are ready for step 3, which is how to make thumbnails for your TPT resources in your store, and also creating previews, which also includes creating video previews. Now, before we really dig into this video, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the bell down below so that you are notified of the final 2 videos of the TPT Bootcamp series that's going to be released, and also other videos that I release on my channel as well. And make sure that if you like what I'm doing here, please give it a thumbs up. And then also any questions that you have or other suggestions of future videos that I should do, please let me know down below in the comments. I love hearing your thoughts. I love hearing all your questions, and I love being of service to you because it helps me help you. So before I switch over to Canva on my computer, I actually did a post on Instagram recently, which if you're not following me on Instagram, you totally should, because there are posts I make on there that I don't do on this channel here. But 67% of you use Canva to create your TPT resources. And that actually gives me a lot of encouragement to doing more Canva tutorials and realizing that my audience is over here using Canva quite a bit. I mean, you can virtually do just about anything on Canva, and that's why I love raving about it. And once again, we're going to really dig in with Canva with creating thumbnails and preview videos that we can create for our TPT stores, so that way our resources can stand out. Real quick, do you need some inspiration for creating resources for your TPT or Etsy shops? I'm not going to gatekeep this information from you. I have been exploring the world of scavenger hunts, escape rooms, and digital resources thanks to Think Tank's Easy Escape Rooms. This course will be able to help you make over 38,000 different escape room combinations that you can use for your classroom or for any digital resource that you want to sell on Teachers Pay Teachers or Etsy. The investment that I made in this course has been returned and then some. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and sign up today so that you can go ahead, start creating these resources and start selling products. What you see here is Canva, and you know how much I rave about Canva. So if we are wanting to create the thumbnail artwork for our TPT resources, then I'm recommending to you to actually go to the social media tab here when you first open up Canva. And what we're actually going to do, we're going to scroll down and we're going to go Instagram post, and obviously we're going to create a blank one, because at the end of the day, we want to try our best to create things from scratch, obviously for integrity reasons, and of course, just originality and realizing this is actually your resource and we're not taking other people's stuff. Which, if you've been in the online teaching world, you would, you know good and well how many other teachers will literally copy and paste verbatim other teachers classes, and without their permission. It's just wild, honestly. Okay, but we have opened up our Instagram square here, and if you have done your research on the artwork of certain thumbnails for Teachers Pay Teachers products, then you know there is a certain font, there's certain styles that they use. So obviously you kind of want to create something your own And then you want to try your best to make sure that it is consistent. And I am going to show you here something that I feel like is pretty common within like TPT resources and what teachers have to offer. So what I'm going to do here is I am actually going to go to elements. And on elements here, I'm going to go down to shapes. And we talked about this before, like if we were going to like create a maze or use different shapes for our TPT resources, like when we're creating them. And I am going to search square. So we have a square here. Now I am actually going to fill this square up completely. And then I'm going to change it to white. Not only that, but we're going to click on this double border wall here, and we're going to add that, and then we're going to stick with like 3 for now, just to kind of get used to the border on here. And the border color, and then we're gonna experiment with thickness. So there we go. And then this one is actually a little bit curved, which is fine. We're just gonna adjust it so that way it's a little bit fuller. So, and then obviously we want to make sure that we have everything leveled up and everything matches. No one likes mismatched stuff, essentially. And you'll have a border. And again, you can experiment with the border weight. We can make it thicker, we can make it thinner. I like to have it kind of medium. So with this, we will be able to use that as our border template for our artwork. And then we're also going to still use that same square. And then we're going to stretch this out, make it kind of solid. You can also move it to the top if you're like, you know, the little white corners here, it's a little wonky. Either way, it'll still look good. And then we are going to also click on that. We're going to duplicate it and make sure it's on the bottom so it will match. So I know I've seen other TPTers, they kind of do like little spaces like so here. And I'm also going to go into text. Now, if you have a Canva Pro or Canva Education account, you are already going to have a certain text that's called Nova. And it's just regular Nova. Now, I did download a standard Nova font from Happy Covers, which I'll try to make sure to link their particular free resource down in the comments, so that way you can download it yourself and then download it onto Canva, so that way you will always have that option. So we will do that. So I automatically have Happy Covers here. And then, like I said, Nova is also a standard option that you can also use. Wow, that just went really, really tiny. That is also like TPT friendly. So Nova and Happy Covers are going to be your standard. Obviously, the Happy Covers is going to be a little more whimsical, whereas Nova is going to be a little more, you know, formal, but still acceptable and nice on Teachers Pay Teachers. So we are going to do our text here. And since we are using black, we're going to make sure we change the font to white. So sure, yeah. And then we're obviously going to resize our text to fit into the box here. So obviously you get the idea here. Now, if we were making our resource, I would not use, necessarily two different types of fonts. I would just pick one or the other. And ultimately, like, it can be Nova or it could be Happy Covers or another TPT acceptable font. Try not to get too, you know, cutesy and artsy fartsy and all that. So these texts are simply fine. And then obviously what I also like to do, which I'm going to show an example here. So I have been downloading digital resources. I've also been downloading like scavenger hunts and escape rooms. And so I have been saving these pictures of like some of my final like product of these resources. And I will use them to use as like a background. So as you see here, like I can resize it and I can do this. So obviously this is an example of what we can do with this. We can stack like so. These are not the same size, so make sure those are the same size as well. So, and then obviously we can position these pictures where we can make sure it goes behind, you know, the bar. So if any way to also like protect your work as well, because there is also people who are not afraid to like find a way to copy your work. But obviously we can do that for resources, or if you have artwork, which if you may have seen, I downloaded a digital resource recently that I actually did a digital activity over a Beethoven. And so I have a picture of Beethoven, and what I can show you is how I was able to do like the digital resource activity. So I had it where it was like Beethoven, and then, you know, and then I'm going to duplicate it, and it was, you know, digital activity. And then I did not spell that correctly. Here I am saying, oh, I'm a teacher. Okay. And then obviously we can adjust the picture accordingly. So, and that's just an example of what we can do. And there's his face, ta-da, you know, obviously that can be an option on that. But I like the overlay, especially if you're offering like worksheets. So what I did earlier, right, with the worksheets, so I just undid everything. Doing those types of layers can also be like a nice little preview, so to speak, if you're doing like worksheets. So, but then also if you are going to do a PNG option, obviously you would download it with the original option. So if it was like with a particular worksheet from Canva and there was like a download for that, you would still download it as a PNG. So PNG would be suitable, but before you download it as a PNG to put up in your TPT shop, you want to make sure that if you are offering one of the worksheets as one of your previews, like your printed preview, that's not a video, because you're like, I'm offering worksheets. It doesn't make sense to do a video preview, which is fine. I would suggest putting up a logo. So I already have a logo because of where I have a brand. I have a little brand kit option on Canva. So I'm going to click on my logo. I'm going to make it, I'm going to edit the video where the background is gone. And then I'm going to kind of fade it. And then it's also going to fit, you know, over the page. So that way, if people are looking at the preview, they're not going to take a screenshot and say, haha, I printed out the worksheet. Like, especially if you only have like a couple of sheets. Like, you want to put some kind of logo, some kind of trademark, not trademark, excuse me, copyright option on there, so that way people don't try to take your work. Now, if you're like, I don't really have a logo, I'm not really interested in that, that's okay. So the next thing that you could do is you can select the text option. So, holy cow, that's really tiny. I don't know why Canva did that so tiny. But obviously, we would make it a decent size, and we would just write in capital letters, sample. So we are going to adjust that. We're also going to make sure we change the text to gray. That way it can be kind of transparent, so to speak. And then we can either turn it so that way it's like sample, and then you just duplicate it where it just, you make sure it just kind of fits all over the page, so that way for sure people are not going to steal your work, copy your work, and all that jazz. You have that as an option if you don't already have like a logo that you could use. Now, before I show you how to upload your preview videos onto Canva to use as a downloadable video that you can put in your TPT store for resources, essentially, if you are not sure how to screen record your digital resources or products where you are able to actually show the interaction, the interactivity within your TPT resources, then I will explain on here really quickly how to do screen shares on your computer. So if you have a MacBook, you want to press Shift, Command 5 all at once, and it'll open the tools at the bottom where you can start hitting record, or you can play, or you can pause, and then you'll be able to hit the record button and it will start recording right away as soon as you hit the play button. And then you would just press the Shift Command 5 again to bring up the tools once you're done recording to stop the recording. Now, if you have a Windows, it's going to be a little bit different. You are going to press the Windows logo key and then alternate and R, and it pretty much serves the same purpose as it would with MacBook. It would display the tools and you would have all your play, pause, stop options. It pretty much does the same thing. So that's how it works on both computers. And I definitely recommend using that as an option if you're like, how do I make really good preview videos for my internet activities or things that require, a digital resource? Once you have recorded your preview video that you want to show for your resources for your TPT store, you want to make sure that you only use a clip that's at least 30 seconds and at most 90 seconds. We don't want to watch a whole movie in terms of what kind of resource you have to offer in your store, obviously, because the previews are just like a quick sneak peek. But once you have your clip and you have shrunk it down to however long you want the clip to be, at least it has to prove a point in like, this is what you can do with the activity. What you're going to do, so under the same like Instagram square that I have here, and I definitely recommend this because again, like consistent theming, consistent artwork, that sort of theme, if you catch my drift. We're going to duplicate our frame that we have created here, and then obviously we're going to delete this, but we're going to go into uploads, and you're going to upload your video on here. So you can either drag and drop a file from your computer screen and drag and drop to Canva, or you can upload the files manually and it'll go down to the videos tab. And I'm just going to show you an example. Like I said, I've been doing the digital resource activities, so obviously we have the videos here. I'm going to crop the video so that way I'm not showing off any of my personal information and websites, You know, we don't want to give the website link away for products, especially if we're trying to offer it, you know, for money. And then we're going to fit it accordingly. We're going to fit it accordingly here to the box. And then great thing is if you need to edit your video or cut your video on Canva, you can do that. If you only want it to show certain spots, it's up to you on there for that. And then you can click done. And then once you have that video preview ready, you're going to click share and then download. And then you're going to download it as an MP4. And then obviously we would download whatever specific page that you have on there. And it'll download as an MP4 that you then can upload onto TPT. Now, in terms of the artwork with your square, ideally, we would do share, download, and then we would download either as a PNG, or you could do a JPEG. One of those two, it's going to work fine. And then if you're able to do both a preview video and then also preview pictures, and then of course with those preview pictures, make sure you either have sample tabs or your logo across from the work that you're previewing. You can do up to, and that includes the main cover, you can do up to 4 preview pictures of your resource. So or if you want to do 1 video and then your main cover and then 3 preview photos, that is something that you can do on TPT, and I recommend doing all of that. So fill it up as much as you possibly can. So definitely do that for sure. You want teachers, other teachers to see, you know, what it really looks like. You don't want to do just the main cover and not really show off to other teachers what exactly it is that you have to offer. It can also look a little sketchy too. So the more, the merrier, and the more likely teachers are going to be purchasing your particular resource if they are really going to get a good scenes, good pictures of what it is that they're looking at. And finally, I feel like this shouldn't have to be said, but you just never know. I hope at this point you have already created a TPT shop. And if you have not, go ahead and do that now. Obviously, with basic accounts, it's going to be free. And if you are brand new to TPT, or you have tried to put on 1 or 2 products and nothing's biting yet, then obviously you need to make sure that your profile is as full as possible. So if you are able to put your school, if you're able to put your specialties or what grade levels that you teach, photos. So if you see on my TPT store, I have a banner for like easel certification. I have a photo that I created myself where it's like, you know, it's about progress, not perfection, you know, that sort of thing. You want to try to fill it out as much as you possibly can, so that way there's more validity in your store and that other teachers can see that you are a teacher offering resources that you have created for yourself. It just, again, it just kind of gives you more validity as a TPT seller if other teachers can see that you know what you're talking about, and you know what kind of effort it took to create the resources that you have in your store. So if you haven't guessed by now, for this particular homework assignment, for those of you following along on the bootcamp series, then you know that you have to create your thumbnails and create your video preview, if applicable, of course, and then also your preview pictures if it's like worksheets. And usually you know what it is that you're offering, and if you can offer a video with it, go for it. So let me know down below how that process is. Are you going to use Canva to create all of this, to create your videos, your thumbnails, make everything stand out in your store? Please let me know down below. So next time we're actually going to dig into a TPT shop, And then I'm actually going to show you live, well, live on me at least, but you will see me in action uploading an actual resource that I am going to post on TPT, to where I will talk about putting in keyword specific and heavy descriptions, and also using standards to help you stand out on TPT as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you for part 4.